Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video I'm really excited to be showing you the Dreame Bot D9 Max. This one's upgraded and it's got a lot of cool features and I'm really excited to see what it's like. Keep watching to find out more. So on today's video, we'll be taking a look at the Dreame Bot D9 Max. Tons of upgraded features, which I'm really pleased to be seeing. For those of you who don't know, this is a robot vacuum with a mop, but it says there, so it's pretty obvious. Now this has got a load of new features in it. Now I've reviewed vacuums previously, they've all been really good and they've done the job, but there's some elements of them which are been a little bit lacking. So with this new version now, we've got a load of new features, and going into 2022, these are the kind of features which make life a lot easier. And possibly, if potentially in the past you've been looking at robot vacs and thinking, well, it doesn't quite do all the things I need it to, hopefully this now will actually tip you over the edge and make you want to dish out for one of these. Now when we're talking about pricing, robot vacuums are never cheap. Now this one at the moment you can pick up on Amazon for somewhere in the region of about £350 in the UK. There are often deals on as well. In fact, actually I did look today and there's a £40 off voucher on amazon.co.uk. Obviously do check around. I'll put some links in the video description so you can check it out for yourselves, see what prices are available, but you should be paying somewhere in the region of about £300 to £350 for this, which actually for the specifications of it, I think is actually a pretty decent price. You can of course get much cheaper ones, but generally they're lacking in features and flexibility and end up getting into all kinds of trouble. For those of you who don't know, I am a homeowner, we've got a family, we've got 4 cats, 2 kids, a wife with long hair, obviously less so much for me, but it's a house that does get dirty and grubby, and there's things that I want cleaned and there's things that I want this thing to avoid like the plague because it's not going to be good for the unit. So that is where the new technology comes into force. This has got a really good laser guided tracking system or scanning system, so it can actually track in real time all of its surroundings and avoid certain areas. Also, you can set up in the application things like virtual no-go zones. So if there's an area in your house, now this is actually particularly important for me. We've got a slightly elderly cat and doesn't always quite make it to the kitty litter, so actually it goes basically at the front door, which is not great, but she's getting on a bit, so we do give her a little bit of grace on that. But that is going to be great because in the app I can actually go into the section by the front door and just put a virtual no-go zone, so the vacuum's not going to go there and accidentally try and clean up any kitty mess, which can actually be a massive problem. I have had a robot vacuum in the past which didn't have this sort of functionality, and it would go in and it would start cleaning areas near a kitty litter, and yeah, it would spread the kitty muck all around the cleaning area, which is exactly what you don't want it to do. So hopefully this new technology, those kind of accidents can be successfully avoided. Now looking at some of the other features this has got built in now, we've got increased battery life. So this can run for up to about 150 minutes on a single charge. Charge takes about 6 hours in total, so not the fastest of charging, but certainly this is autonomous, so it can go on, do its job. If it runs out of battery, it can go back to the charging base, charge itself up, and then continue on through the cleaning cycle, which is absolutely brilliant with pretty limited user intervention. Also as well, we've got upgraded suction power. This has got 4000 PA, which if you look around at other robot vacuums, and actually I challenge you to do it, head over to Amazon now, click on the link in the video description and look at other vacuums in a similar price point. Even some of the more expensive ones have only got like 2000 PA suction power, maybe 3000. This has got 4000, which is a really big step up. Now with that, you do get a slight increase in noise. This is going to run at around about sort of 50 to 60 decibels, so it isn't silent and you probably don't want to carry on cleaning your home whilst you're all sleeping at night, but potentially you could do depending on the size and structure of your house. Other features this has got built in, so like we said, we've got this app so you can control everything in there. Also it's got an anti-tangle brush, which is a really handy thing to do, again, if you've got cats or if you've got ladies in the house, or even if you've just got long hair, unlike myself, it does get tangled up on those rollers. So this actually incorporates a new technology actually built into the unit, which helps to try and resolve a little bit of that. So really looking forward to see how that works. Another great feature, again, if you are in a home where you've got those laminate floors, or maybe again you've got kids, younger kids, or you spill coffee or whatever, this has actually got a built-in mop feature as well. So not only can you clean the carpets, you can also mop hard floors and other areas. Now of course in the app, like I said, you have got full control over that, so if there are areas where you've got carpets or there's rugs, you can set them to be no mop zones, which is absolutely brilliant. And of course, if you want to, you can set this up to be completely autonomous in a certain cleaning area. So if there's an area which is needing a little bit more of attention, you can press a button on the app or actually on the device itself and get it to do a spot cleaning mode, which is absolutely brilliant. And again, that works with the mop function. The mop has got about 3 levels of different kind of saturation points. So depending on the type of floor and what you're trying to clean, you can choose how heavy or how low the flow of water is to that particular area. Again, which is a really cool feature. A lot of the other vacuums in a similar sort of price point don't have that functionality, and literally they just pour out water regardless, and yeah, it's not great. So obviously you can change all that, which is absolutely brilliant. So let's go ahead, take this thing out of the box, see what we get, and we'll take a look at the box and some of the specifications that I've just rattled through as well. I'm then going to have to put it on charge. So when you get one of these for the first time, you are going to have to set it up, put it on charge, etc., which is a good time because then you can install the app and set all that kind of thing up, your Wi-Fi, etc., etc. Going to leave it on charge, then we're going to do some tests with it, take some B-roll, get some analysis on it, and then we'll come back at the very end and obviously show you how well it cleans and my personal opinions. So back to the box. So as you can see, this is Dreame Bot D9 Max. Dreame or Dreame, or however you want to pronounce it, is kind of like a subsidiary of Xiaomi, which most of you have probably heard of by now. They do make some fantastic products and they've got a whole wide range of them, but Dreame is their kind of vacuum side company, if you will. Looking on the side of the box, it goes into, again, the LDS system. So this is your kind of laser guided tracking system. So it'll go through and scan using LIDAR, check out the surroundings, see where it can and can't go. It combines this with hole sensors and drop sensors, so if you are maybe doing this on an upper level and there's stairs, etc., then it won't fall over the edges of these things, which is also a very handy thing to do. On the bottom there it says about the smart app, which we touched on as well. So again, you can set up things like cleaning zones, cleaning rooms, schedules, all that kind of stuff, and get loads of feedback from the unit to see what it has and hasn't cleaned up. Although that's going to be pretty obvious because you walk in there and go, it's dirty. Why haven't you done your cleaning? Anyway, moving on. On the side, it just goes over again what I've just said. So 4000 PA suction, which is again enhanced from previous versions and better than most of the other ones on the market, it seems, especially at this price point or even above. It goes on to talk about the upgraded brush roller with the anti-hair wrap design, which is, yeah, again, not so much of a problem for myself. So first of all, when we open it up, we get the usual kind of deal. So we get the instruction guide, all that kind of stuff, and also there is a quick start guide, and there's a QR code on the back which you can scan to install the apps on your phone, all that kind of stuff. First box here is going to be the mop section. So this is the mopping section. You can fill this up with around about 270 millilitres of water. There is a controllable pump on there as well, so the pump has control. It's not just going to leak water out, it is all controlled. Very nice to see, very easy to do. All we do is pull that open, a little stopper on there, fill it up with water. Don't use detergent, just water, clean water, and then that is essentially ready to go. Little electrical sensors in there to tell the unit that their mop is actually attached. On the other side, you've got this microfiber cleaning pad, which is held on with Velcro. So you just peel that off and then you can unslot it from this side, and then you can put that into kind of like your washing cycle, all that kind of stuff. Or if you need to clean any of this, you certainly can do. Inside again, you can see the pipe work inside for the pumps and the kind of dispersal. So you've got 3 individual nozzles there, which is awesome. When this is cleaned, all you need to do is just slot it back in the end there, which is actually a little bit more difficult for me to do on this angle of the camera, but slot it in, pull it in, and Velcro in position, slot it into the machine, and that's it, job done. Next in the box at the back here, we've got the actual machine itself, but we'll take a look at that after. So in this section here, we do have a UK power plug. Now for those of you that are interested and maybe you're thinking to yourselves, where am I actually going to put this in the house? Now it does come with one of these kind of cloverleaf type connections, which goes into the charging point. You can, in certain instances, again, this is what I'm going to do in my house, I'm actually going to put this through a plinth in the kitchen and actually have the dock in the kitchen area, so it's nice and easy. And also when it comes to either filling or cleaning the mop, etc., or emptying the bins, we're in the kitchen area where we've got bins and obviously access to cleansing materials, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, nice and easy to do. Being that that is on a cloverleaf, if you do want to put it in a certain place, you can, of course, you can change these cables. You could replace this for a much longer one if there isn't a power point exactly where you need it, although you do get a 1.8 meter cable. The charging dock itself is actually pretty small, pretty compact. Again, this is quite a low height to it as well. There is a sensor in the front there, so it kind of matches up with the unit, and this is how the unit actually tracks to it. You've also got pogo points on the bottom for charging, etc. So yeah, pretty nice and compact. The power cord, for those interested, goes in on the side, so there is going to be a little bit of wire showing on the side potentially. Again, This is quite a low height, so fitting it underneath kitchen cabinets, that kind of thing, or maybe even under a TV unit in your living room, that kind of stuff, is going to be relatively straightforward. You could, I guess, if you wanted to, you could even just have it underneath your bed. Most beds have got a relatively good clearance in them and probably need a damn good clean underneath as well. So yeah, maybe worth putting it there. There is actually on the back as well, a little anti-skid rubber pad there, and also on the front. So if you do put it onto a surface which is shiny, it actually doesn't want to move around, which is going to be great because obviously when the robot backs onto the charger, there is going to be a little bit of movement there, but due to those rubber pads, hopefully it won't move too far. The last part in the box, well, two last parts actually, there is the cleaning brush, which these can be replaced. You can get additional ones. So if you're like me and you've got some pretty heavy duty rugs in certain areas, you will find after a while these will have the tendency to bend and kind of break a little bit. So these are nice and easy to replace. Again, I'll put some links for these in the description. All you need to do to actually install it is turn the device over, and you'll see in this section here, just line up the brush there, and it snaps into position. So nice and easy to do, and that just spins around and cleans debris away. Looking back on the top, so we've got two buttons on the top. So we've got the home button and also the power on off button. Those are actually clicky buttons rather than being capacitive ones, which for me I think is actually much better. Capacitive buttons have a tendency to fail. I don't know if you've experienced this yourselves, but previous robot vacuums I've had with capacitive buttons have not always been brilliant. At least with these, they are actual proper buttons which you can press, so less chance of something going wrong there. On the top, we've got the LIDAR navigation system. So essentially there is a laser in there which kind of spins around and navigates around and gets a kind of a visual picture of what your individual place looks like. On the back section here, so this bit flips open. So this is where the actual bin is, and as you can see in there, we've got the bin section, and there is also a kind of QR code and instructions on how to use it all there. Tucked away at the bottom here, I really like this bit. This is a little cleaning brush, and bizarrely a kind of a brush cleaning section there, and that's for getting rid of hair off of the roller, which hopefully we won't be needing too much because they've upgraded the technology, so that potentially isn't needed. When it comes to emptying the bin, very straightforward, very simple to do. All we do is press that button in and you can lift the whole unit out. This is actually quite handy because you can clean up these sections if anything gets stuck in there, slightly larger items, that kind of stuff. The bin itself you can open easily, and also you've got a filter on the back which is cleanable. If you do clean this, you can clean it under a tap, just cold water, that kind of stuff. Do make sure it is 100% dry before you try and use it again. So that is worth bearing in mind. And of course, to empty the bin, if you want to empty the bin or need to empty the bin, which obviously you're going to, then all you do is where these tabs are at the top, you can just twist that down and you can empty out the bin that sort of way, or potentially you could do it that way, whichever suits you. But yeah, pretty much the standard deal that we're used to these days with most of these kind of robot vacuums. Nice and easy. The section here where it actually connects through, we'll tilt up so you can see, so that is the kind of pass through. So again, you can clean the rollers, or if there's any blockages there, you can get easy access to that. Putting the bin back in, nice and simple, just push it down, clicks into place. You've also got two more LEDs here, so you've got a reset LED there, which you can press in. Well, it's not an LED, but you can press that in to reset the system back to the factory defaults. You've also got your Wi-Fi connectivity light. Again, if you're using this in a certain area and you don't want to have to see those lights, it's all covered up there, so you're not going to see it. Moving back to the bottom, so we've got an actually increased width roller, which is an improvement over the D9, which is a little bit on the shorter side in my opinion. So this is going to mean it's going to need less passes to actually do the cleaning job. Also, the whole unit is kind of suspended a little bit as well, so it's going to kind of flatten towards the surfaces it's actually trying to clean, which is always really good. The brush itself is a combination of bristles and also a rubber channel as well for scooping up things, and there's a deflection area on the front there as well. Also, this bit comes out very easily. Just press those two tabs in and you can lift the top section off, and then you can take out the roller should you need to get rid of any hairs on it, which hopefully you won't, which then shows you this section in here. So that is what they've done. Basically, it's just channels, plastic channels there. So if there are any longer hairs in there, because of their angled inwards, they're basically going to spiral towards the inside and then hopefully into the basket at the back. So that's really good. You can replace these as well. They're easily replaceable if you need to get a new one. Just pops in and put that section back in, click it into place, and that's it, job done. So other things you can see on it, we've got the nice chunky wheels, so you've got adjustment there for various different heights, etc. So if you've got slightly larger carpets. In our front room, actually, we've got a really long, shaggy pile carpet, which pretty much every vacuum I've ever owned struggles with or gets tangled on. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it actually deals with that. These sections here, pogo pins again, that is for the mop attachment, which just slots on the back there. So that slots into place, and you can just pull that back off as well, should you need to, or whenever you need to obviously charge the unit or to fill this back up. Also got a wheel on the front, so for helping navigation. Got your 2 charging points there, so make sure you keep those nice and clean. If you've got slightly dirtier carpets, or again, you've got cats, animals, etc., just try and keep those points clean to make sure you get proper charging. We've also got 4 sensors as well, so these are kind of hole or drop sensors. So you've got one there, one there, one there, and one there. So that is going to detect that there is actually a surface that it can go on underneath before it hurtles off down the stairs, which this will not do, or at least it shouldn't do. Anyway, I think that is pretty much it. The rest of it is pretty much straightforward and self-explanatory. So you've got a bumper on the front. So if it hits anything on the sides or the front, then it will stop and it will kind of reverse and try and navigate its way around. I'm actually really interested to see how this does. Again, I've had other vacuums previously which have been slightly older technology, but have kind of claimed to do the similar sort of thing. So I'd be interested to see in our kind of crazy setup that we've got here, whether or not it can navigate around the house successfully and actually even make it back to the charging dock. A lot of vacuums I've had actually physically couldn't do that because they just run out of power trying to navigate around all the boxes and stuff that we've got here. So anyway, I've waffled on for way too long. I'm gonna get this thing charged up, get the app installed, and then we'll see you after with some results and also some B-roll of the cleaning and operation. Okay, so we're back and I've done some testing, and I've got to be honest with you, this little thing is brilliant. I'm slightly in love with it. It does a fantastic job. I'm going to go through now and tell you some of my findings, some of the things which really impressed me, and I'll try and think of something which has disappointed me, but to be honest with you, there isn't really anything. Although I suppose the one thing which does disappoint me slightly is actually trying to attach and take off the mop section on the bottom. So the mop section on the bottom is just here. Now when it's actually in the docking station charging, it's actually really simple. There's a little button on the side, a little button on the other side, press them in and you can just release it from the back. Super simple. It doesn't use a great deal of water. Now I have mopped the living room and also the kitchen a couple of times just to get some B-roll and just to clean it because it's a little bit filthy. Didn't use a great deal of water, so 270 mils in here, and there was kind of like an air bubble in the top, which you're probably seeing from some B-roll. So that's all well and good, but if you're having this actually on the charging dock and then you think, well, actually I want to do some mopping, because you're not meant to leave this on all the time, only when you actually want to mop. And the system itself knows when this is attached because those magnetic and electrical contacts, so it goes into mopping mode. So if you have carpet and laminate flooring in your kind of area of cleaning, you don't really want to have this on all the time, if that makes any sense. So actually to put it on whilst the unit is kind of there, you can do it. It is possible, but it is a little bit hit and miss sometimes. So yeah, it is clicking in there now. I struggled with it for some reason when it was in the kitchen, I guess because it's at floor level, that sort of thing. At the moment, obviously on a desk, it's considerably easier. So that for me would have been nice if there was a slightly easier way of actually attaching the mopping section or basically disabling it in the software. That would have been good, although I'm guessing on carpets, this is going to provide some drag and reduce the battery life. So it does make sense, but yeah, it's just one of those things. But of all the things, that is the only thing which maybe slightly disappointed me. Everything else is brilliant. So obviously emptying the bin, once it's done its job, that is extremely easy to do. Just pull it out, unclip that, tip it into the trash, and that's it, you're done. Cleaning all this out is very simple, very straightforward. And actually, I'm pleased to say that actually on the roller itself, if I flip this over quickly, and we'll take a look inside, and take this bit off, and take out the roller. And this is in 4K, so you should be able to see this very easily. But you'll probably notice there are no, double checking, there are no actual hairs on here at all that I can see. There's a couple of cat hairs which are on there, but actual human hairs, they do all appear to have been used in this channel and actually put into the trash section. So that I'm very impressed with. I will be doing some more testing with this as time goes on, and we'll probably do some updates, all that kind of stuff, just to see what it's like. But actually it works very well. I did think that having just a single brush bar on here could be a potential bit of an issue and it wouldn't pick up certain things, but actually it does seem to have picked up a very big amount, and I was actually impressed. Kath done the vacuuming earlier on the day, so that was kind of mostly taken care of, but this has gone round, done all those kind of little fine bits which we all miss little bits. This is a computer at the end of the day, so it looks at an area on that 3D map and just goes around and does it, and it does it in like kind of like a logical way. So it goes around all the outside areas first. Again, you're probably seeing this from B-roll at the moment. So it slowly goes around, working out, navigating where it can and can't go. Once it's done that initial area, the middle bit, it just goes up and down and does crisscrosses and all that kind of stuff, and covers the area very quickly, and actually probably does it better than most humans, because we kind of get sidetracked, or you notice something, you move something, you know, you've probably done an area already. So it does actually work very well in that respect. Other things which I found to be very good, which I didn't actually expect, the unit itself. Now, if you're in a traditional home, I'm assuming you've got this on charge in the kitchen perhaps, and you go into the living room and you realise, oh, it's a little bit mucky in here. So rather than actually just pressing the button, going into the app, working out where it is and all that kind of stuff, and then saying, right, go into this room, clean this room only, you can actually just, if you want to, pick the thing up off the dock and just press the start button. It will then scan the area, and I don't know how it manages to do it, but it actually knows which room it's in, which absolutely blew my mind. Previously, if you had one of these types of robot vacuums, once it had done the kind of layout scan of the room, if you moved it away from the dock, it was completely confused about where it was, and generally it would try and hunt around forever, find the dock, and then go to where it was supposed to clean. So this can actually, as long as it's done an initial scan of the entire room, which it does actually on an ongoing basis. So the moment you plug this in, get it going, first of all, you'll see it on the map, there'll be a very small area, but as it goes around and it finds new areas, it adds it to the map, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Okay, so now I'm actually going to show you in the app. So first thing I'm going to do is turn this back on, because I actually turned it off. So press the power on button and it'll come on. Hopefully it's not going to try and do anything too dramatic, otherwise I'll have to quickly stop it. It shouldn't do anything. That beats Windows. So it looks like it's connecting. Let's go into the app and see if it's found it. It should have done by now. So there we go. Currently it's saying it's offline, so it's probably waiting for a connection. And there we go, it's connected. So it connects really quickly to the Wi-Fi should you move it around. So let's go into the Dreame Bot D9 Max. And you can see now what it's been doing. You can see on the screen there is a map that is actually decided is the areas, which actually is a pretty good floor plan of the house. And we can zoom in on those areas and see what it's done. It shows you there in the kitchen there, which is section C there. It does actually make it so that once it's done a scan, it does appear as one whole group. Once it's done that, it automatically says, right, okay, let's divide this down into blocks, which you can then merge. So if there's a couple of areas which are very close to each other, so initially it did actually set it so there was an area kind of just here, if I point on it, in that middle section, which is kind of like the hallway, but it didn't have the rest of the hallway going up to the front door. So I joined those together, so you can use the merge command to merge areas, which is excellent. And also you can name those individual areas. So for instance, the section E is called living room. So if I'm using one of the voice assistants, I can say, hey, keyword, vacuum a room, and it will do that room. So it will just go off and do its own thing, which is excellent. You can see as well the virtual wall. So at the moment we've got a virtual wall, as I said, at the front there. So you can see the red line on the app. That is basically the front doorway and where the cat, our slightly elderly cat, thinks is a cat litter, which clearly isn't. So I don't obviously want this to go through that area for obvious reasons. I want it to stay well clear of that. So we've got a virtual wall there, so it doesn't go to that area. And actually it works really well, so it can still vacuum the areas around it and not cause any problems. So if the cat has had an accident in that particular area, which seems to be where it does quite often, it misses that altogether. You can manage the maps as well, so you can change the names, etc. And you can have multi-floors. So if I wanted to now, I could take this upstairs, let it go around, and it'll create a new map, which you can then merge, and then you can switch between maps, etc., etc. All very, very cool. The dock button on the bottom, so you press that and it goes back to charge on the dock. The start cleanup is in the bottom right-hand corner there. If we go to rooms, so you can say you can select rooms, etc., and zoom through them if you've got a particularly large area, or you can zoom in on specific areas. Nice thing as well, you can actually do little zones. So if you click on zone, and then you get a zone box and you can move that around. So say for instance, there's a mess in the hallway, just where the kind of shoe racks are, that kind of thing. You can set it to there. And if you want to, you can drag the box out to make it bigger. And it tells you roughly how big it is as well. So that's 3 meters by 1 meter. Realistically, this will do 1 square meter every minute, So you can tell roughly how long it's going to take to do that. So 3 square meters, it's going to be something like 3 minutes to do that little area, which is, yeah, excellent. If you go into all gain, you've got all of the sections there. It's just a very, very cool app, and it seems to work extremely well. I'm looking for issues with it, and I'm struggling to come up with any. You can see there in zone C, the little green bit. If I zoom in a little bit, I think that's as far as you can zoom in. So the green bit is the dock, and you can tell at the moment it thinks it's somewhere in that region, but clearly it isn't. So yeah, when you start it going, it'll scan the area and work out where it is. So yeah, that all works extremely well. I was, yeah, absolutely gobsmacked. I put it in the front room thinking it's never going to do it. It's going to go straight back to the kitchen and try and do something else. But no, it just scanned around and said, yeah, okay, fine, no problem. I'll carry on cleaning. And I took some footage of it, as you're probably seeing. It's just, yeah, I'm very, very impressed. So let's take a look at some of the device settings in the app. So you've got notifications, which come up on your phone, all that kind of stuff. Voice and volume you can change. So if you don't want to have those notifications or the voice when it charges, etc., you can disable that or make it as loud as you want to. Time zones, etc. Carpet boost is a really cool feature. So when it's actually on a hard floor or a solid surface, it will use as little power as it needs to. But obviously carpets are a little bit thicker, and there's kind of like air gaps where you've got fabric and fibers, all that kind of stuff. So it will actually boost the motor. So as it goes from one room to another, so maybe you've got hard floor, then carpet, as soon as it hits the carpet, it ramps up and puts the motor on a higher setting, and it does appear to pick up actually lots and lots of dust, which is really good. I was going to do one of those tests where we just chuck a load of stuff on the floor and see what it picks up, but realistically, for that kind of thing, everyone's going to be different, and it's quite unrealistic. But from what I can see already, it does pick up pretty much the same amount of stuff as my cordless vacuums do, so I've got no issues there. You've got resume cleaning mode as well, so when it's been charging, if it's run out of battery and it's gone back to the dock, it'll go back and resume, so you can set that. Do not disturb mode is really good. If you're one of those people that you don't want this thing going off on its own whilst you're asleep, you can set your own kind of do not disturb modes, and you can set the starting time and end time, as you can see on the screen there. And also, you've also got mop pad cleaning. So that gives you kind of notifications on your phone saying, look, you really should change your mop pad because it's probably dirty by now, all that kind of stuff. So that's in the device settings. You've also got things like your cleaning modes. So you've got 4 cleaning modes. You've got the quiet, standard, strong, and turbo. I've just left it on standard and it's been absolutely fine. Also, you've got the water flow setting for the actual mop section. So 3 levels there. I've set it to low and that seems to be absolutely fine. One thing I should say, which I didn't say earlier on in the video, is when you're actually using the mop pad, before you use it, get it wet, wring out any excess water, then stick it back on. And that way it works much better as it's intended to. Take it off, give it a clean once you're done. Again, you can check with your own floors what you need. If you've got a slightly more porous floor, then maybe you want to set it onto medium or high, but for us with laminate flooring, low seems to work extremely well. Schedule cleanup you can go into. You can set schedules if you want to. I haven't as of yet, but I probably will do. Cleaning history tells you what it's done. As you can see, there's a list of all the cleaning tasks that it's done, the total area covered, the duration, and how many times, all that kind of stuff. A remote control, that's pretty handy. So if there is a bit of spot cleaning you want to do and you want to take control, you can go into remote control and you can control it, obviously using the phone as a kind of joystick almost. So that's very good. Accessory usage tells you about your filters, your side brushes, and your main brush, about cleaning and when they need replacing, all that kind of stuff. And actually, I should say, all the spares are readily available. I looked on Amazon today, everything's available. So the brush, the bar, the filters, the mops, all that kind of stuff, all available. I'll try and link those in the video as well, so you can pick these up if you want to. You might want to, for the actual mop pads, get another couple of those, just so you can use one, maybe stick one in the washer, that kind of thing, and have one dry, ready to go should you need it, if you've got some extra mopping you need to do. Locate my robot is pretty good.
The robot is here. The robot is here.
Yep, that's what it does. It tells you where the robot is. So if for some reason it's got stuck somewhere under a sofa, which actually ours didn't, again, as you can see from the footage, it just bangs up against it, realizes it's there and avoids it, so that's all good. So nice and easy to find. Device name you can change if you want to. Location management, so you can change where you are, etc., and what router is connected to. You've got intelligent scenes, firmware updates, and all that kind of stuff. And in more settings, it tells you about security, plugin versions, and all that kind of stuff. So that is essentially the app. It's very fully featured. My real takeaway of this is actually how well it works without really too much user intervention. Essentially, charge it up, set it up, let it do its own thing, and let it get on with it. The only thing really that you could really want is actually some automated way of emptying the waste bin. So you could leave it for maybe a week or so and go away on holiday, and not have to worry about the bin being full, that kind of thing. But saying that, after we did a quick clean around the house, the lower floor, the ground floor, the bin itself was barely full, and it's actually quite a big bin as well, which is absolutely brilliant. So I think I've probably waxed lyrical a bit too much about this already. I'm really impressed, I've got to be honest with you. It's a very difficult thing to do. I came into this review initially thinking, oh God, it's another robot vacuum. There's going to be all these things that usually happen. It's going to get stuck, it's going to get lost, it's not going to know where it is. It's not going to pick up what I expect it to do, it's going to underperform. And all of those things are completely untrue in this particular instance, which, yeah, it surprised me a great deal. So anyway, that has been it. I can only say, if you want to spend somewhere in the region of about £300, £350 on a robot vacuum, and you want it to be able to just get on and do its own thing and not have to get too involved with it, other than obviously emptying the bin and removing the mop section every now and then, this is definitely worth a look, and it surprised me how good it actually is. So let me know what you think about this one in the comments section, but for now, I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.